Thanks for being here, Eddie Ford from NorCal Gun Vault.
Good morning.
Also, thanks to your wife Tammy, who's in the other room working.
Yes.
We're glad to see you here. Let's start with this. This is not why we expected to have you on the show, and we talked about this a while ago. But there's been a lot of reports of a lot of guns and ammo being sold. First things first, you're in Placer County, which is not under any type of shelter-to-place order or directive, so are you open today?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Normal hours, what time do you open?
Normally, we're open 10 to 6, Monday through Saturday, 10 to 5 Sunday.
How's your inventory?
It's limited. I'll put it that way. I mean, we've sold a lot of firearms, a lot of ammo. We've got some stock coming in, daily, but it's, small. They're small amounts, but we're trying to keep the supply chains going so that people can get what they need.
And the small amounts are part, because this is going on across the nation.
Yes.
I saw yesterday in Las Vegas, a gun store owner said, don't come for 3 days. I got to restock, and there's no reason for me to be open. You're not there yet.
Right.
What is, so this is a question, a lot of people are curious, and it's a personal one for me. What are you hearing from people as to why they're in there buying guns, ammo, and protection stuff?
A lot of first-time gun buyers, and it's funny kind of that a lot of wives are now saying, honey, go get a gun. And so these guys finally have permission to go get one, and they're going out and buying one. So, I mean, that's the root of it is people are concerned about their own protection. Do you know where the concern? Can you get it? Because you've sent me pictures. Do you have any idea how many people you're getting in and out of that store? Yeah, 300 plus per day. Okay,
jeez.
And you have a big store, but that's a lot. That's a lot of people.
Oh my gosh.
And I know you talk to them anyways, and all your staff does. Do you have any idea where that fear is rooted? When you say their personal safety, are they concerned walking around? Are they concerned that eventually it's going to turn into people breaking into homes? What is it that they're saying to their husbands, go get a gun for? Yeah, I think just a lot of people, with all of the fear of The Walking Dead and The Walking Dead being popular as it is, I think people they just want to be able to protect their family from people that potentially may want to take their stuff. And that's where my concern always comes in with this stuff. In fact, we got an email that says it in his voice, a guy named Ralph.
Hey, Ralph.
He says, I'm a gun enthusiast. I stockpile ammo and guns and all the goodies. Used to be a weirdo. People would make comments. Now, during this coronavirus, I am smart and a good planner. Other people are now running out to buy guns and ammo, and my concern is that these people are not buying the guns and ammo for the same reason that many before them have. My wonder is, are these people buying guns and ammo to not only protect their food stockpiles and family, which, yes, right, but also possibly thinking there will be no food left, and they'll need to try to jack other people who may have food or even rob food. And no way to know those intentions. Right. But I'm kind of like Ralph. I've got guns at home and ammo at home. In fact, Eddie, you're former military. You and Tammy have guns at home. And I assume you have ammo at home. And you're proficient in home security. Yep. Have you personally made any changes because of what's going on at home? Not at this point. I mean, we stay prepared, and so we didn't have to go out and stock up a bunch of stuff. So you just got to be vigilant and be aware of your surroundings. And I mean, and this is any time really, but I think as this progresses, if it goes to worst case scenario, which is where everybody assumes they're going to have to deal with it, because all of these concerns people have are worst case scenarios. And I mean, you look at the Salt Lake City thing where you've got a natural disaster on top of this national disaster, and it can compound like that. I mean, we have an earthquake here, and things can get crazy real quick, especially as your resources start to dwindle and the police departments get overwhelmed and the hospitals get overwhelmed. I think that's what everybody's ultimately afraid of, is that saturation point where now they're going to have to protect themselves.
Where I start freaking out, and you can talk me off the ledge, Rob, if need be, is the way in which people are already responding. We have a lot of selfish punks. So if it gets to where, we're talking about here, how are they going to respond then? And of course I'm going to think, I need to protect myself more at home because of how people are already being now. And it's not like to that extreme. But I can't see us acting accordingly if it got to that extreme. I think those same people would just do drastic things. I think that's where it's a double-edged sword for me, in that I understand, as everybody is now kind of going through what, to me, because I was raised by a wonderful father, was always common sense. You always have an emergency kit on hand. And so many people have been educated that they don't. And so it started with the water, the toilet paper. We're still all trying to figure that out. The basic provisions. And then they start going through their checklist. And when they get to the point of, okay, this is continuing to freak me out,
And as you say, Eddie, they're starting to think we don't have enough home protection, and they go out and buy a gun. And your scenario, Don, they're like, we're really concerned. I get that. And there is reason. We can go back to Katrina and all the looting that occurred then, the Paradise Fire. I mean, we know that there are enough people. So my concern are them. Are they going into gun shops? And there's nothing we can do about it.
Right.
It's not like you can vet. No. You can't say, so are you a nut that's going to break into my house?
Yeah, exactly.
How does this work, though? Because
man. I never thought about that part.
Right.
I'm thinking it's us good folks going out and getting all these guns. That's why I've been sharing it. Good for you. You're doing what you can to protect yourself.
And I'm not here to freak you or anyone else out. You just asked me. I mean, my concern is the ones who are more prone to doing ill are actually the ones planning for the worst case scenario and trying to do things. But as we said, there's nothing we can do about that. But what about, Eddie, how does this work? There's a waiting period still.
Sure.
So if in fact, we got this email from Chris.
Hi, Chris.
Says, I'm just curious how this would affect my gun purchase. I bought a gun at NorCal Gun Vault. Awesome experience, by the way, he says. On Saturday, this past Saturday, which seems like light years away, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I have that 10 to 30 day time period to pick it up. If they close and stay closed past those 30 days, then what do you think happens? So how would you answer that one?
If Placer County closes non-essential businesses, what happens is because of the state mandate of the delivery of the firearm within 30 days, we would staff up just to do deliveries. We couldn't sell new product, but we will maintain the staff there to do the deliveries so that people can come pick up their firearms within that 30-day period. If it goes over the 30 days, then there won't be any really recourse for them at that point. So they'll just need to stay vigilant and come get their firearms.
So just to repeat, and as of right before we went on the air, I double checked 8 a.m. this morning. Placer County does not have. And Sacramento County does not have a shelter-in-place order. They have an advisory.
Right.
Placer County does not have an order. But if they issue it, or if the state of California does what Nevada did yesterday, and they say all non-essential businesses must close, you will stay open not for sales, but to provide these guns for 30 days past that.
That's correct.
Okay.
Because who is that? Is it the ATF where it was like they put a time on it and you've got to be in here by that time and that day? Is it them? Is that
California Department of Justice Bureau of Firearms?
Yeah,
the ones who set those.
Phone number, by the way, is 888-989-9811. What about things that aren't guns and ammo? Are people stocking up on other security things like tasers and you? I don't know if you have any, but you had those really cool pepper ball guns, which because when you showed them, they shoot a ball. That's filled with basically pepper spray-ish.
It's powder, yeah.
And you made the point of well, pepper spray is no good if it's windy.
Right.
And I went,
exactly.
I need a few of those. Are they buying those things?
We've had a couple sales that I've seen where they've come in and got them. I think as other supplies start to dwindle, they'll turn to more. Maybe less than lethal, but something for protection as well.
Because that's where my mind goes as somebody who has the lethal stuff. I always then start to think, well, yeah, but that's worst case scenario. But what about, you start talking about getting jacked on the street or whatever. Right. You don't want to have to pull out a gun.
No,
There's other things. There are other choices.
Well, not everybody has a CCW. And I'd heard from one of our customers that there was a small uptick in strong arm robberies going on, which is something to kind of keep considering because that's where it starts. And so having something like a pepper spray or something, at least to protect yourself anyway, maybe not your blind.
And I'm hearing anecdotal reports of that as well through law enforcement. And the unfortunate side effect of this then goes back to a comment Dawn just made. There's a lot of people that don't have concealed carry permits that will be carrying guns if that behavior continues.
Well, honestly, I mean, that scenario played in my mind the other day when I was on the road and we're at a stoplight, and I'm like, if you're a criminal, if things get crazy, and you're a criminal and you have a gun, well, I'm not supposed to have one because I don't have a CCW. No. How does that work? If things start going crazy, I mean, are we all really gonna? I know we should, but the mindset might be: are we really gonna follow that rule? Do you know if things go crazy? Right. Oh, sorry. Yes, let me take the risk. I mean,
and if we don't, though, the consequences are still the same. Unless unless the country's completely fallen apart.
Right. Yeah.
But I mean, I am carrying and more aware of non-lethal stuff as of a few days ago for all those reasons. Our cars are stocked full with tasers and the pepper ball guns, and because that makes sense to me, and also to avoid the very scenario you're mentioning, Dawn.
Yeah.
We don't need to be pulling guns on people. We got this email from Brett.
Hi, Brett.
Says, my wife is a licensed real estate agent and also works for a property management company. I want her to buy a handgun for her safety. What does Eddie recommend?
Again, if you're going to carry it for safety, something, I mean, at this point right now, it's just what you can get.
And also,
But
what do I
honestly,
have at the store?
Yeah, honestly. But I mean, for the most part, a lot of people will buy a small format or a compact firearm because it's easily concealed so that nobody's alarmed. But if they need it, it's there. We sell a lot of 6-hour P238s, a lot of Burst of Firestorms, a lot of the 380 ammo rounds. They're small form.
Is there anything in particular that you can say that you do have, as opposed to focusing on the negatives? At NorCal Gun Vault right now, is there something like, yeah, we still have these type of things available, or is it just so fleeting?
Right now, we don't have any 9mm pistols. We're waiting on some deliveries to come in from those. Some 40mm or 40 caliber pistols. We got some 45s. I have a lot of revolvers, so that'll start dwindling down. But again, anything to protect yourself at this point.
Well, and I'm like, I didn't hear if he said what state. I mean, are you in Arizona where she could just walk in, get it, put it in her purse, and go to work?
Yeah, didn't say.
Because if you're in California, she can't just get it, put it in her purse, and go to work.
Phone number is 888
Unfortunately.
989-9811. Hi, Brett. Good morning.
Hi there. Good morning. I'm a longtime firearm owner and listener. One quick note: when people are buying guns, please understand that training is so essential. You just don't go out and buy a gun and pull triggers. Right. Get training and understand there's a system to home defense, self-defense. It's a multi-layer process. We just don't buy guns and start shooting right off the bat. I was hoping you guys could emphasize that more.
Yeah,
learn systems.
It's an excellent point, and we've talked about this before, Eddie. To what extent at NorCal Gun Vault do you get into those conversations, especially now that you say you're getting a lot of first-time buyers?
Right, and as we're talking to them about the firearms, you have to kind of give them some pointers and things, but we always, we tell them just, make sure if you're a first-time gun owner, you keep it locked. And that you're familiar, but you need to go train with it. I mean, the gun range is still open. You can go over there. And the other day there was 3-hour waits at the gun range, right? So, but wow. Get where you can. You can go to Spenceville. You can go to some open BLM lands, and at least understand, whether you can shoot or not. And if you can't, give it to your significant other and let them shoot.
Almost anyone that can remember, depending on how old you are and how far you've been doing it, that shoots guns or owns guns will tell you the very first time you do it, it is a life-changing experience.
Yes.
It's mind-blowing, and you go, whoa. I mean, for a lot of people, it's the first time of actually realizing what guns can do, especially so many of us who've grown up playing video games.
Right. Duck Hunt.
You said Duck Hunt, right?
Yes, Duck
My God.
Hunt.
Or even just stupid examples, water pistols, dart guns as kids. When you put a real gun in your hand, whether it's a handgun or a rifle, you go, whoa, you get the gravity of it, and we don't want people doing that for the first time when they're confronted by somebody in their house.
Right, exactly. And it's pretty empowering when you do get a chance to go to the range. But
I'm far from an expert, but I think people should learn from me because I went backwards. Just because you've shot a ton of, I couldn't tell you what I've shot. In Arizona, it's amazing. It's a free-for-all, and you can just shoot and blow stuff up, and I've had a ton of fun, but I've had no idea what it is I'm shooting. Was I taught exactly properly how to hold it, what to do? No. I mean, a little bit to be able to hold it, right? But the actual technique of it all and the way to stand and just all of that goes into it before you even shoot the gun, I didn't learn any of that. I'm going backwards now.
Right.
So it's like just because you might have gone out in the hills and shot a bunch doesn't mean you're then qualified to help protect people, if you're out and about. You probably don't want to be that person. Oh, here, I've got a gun. Let me help you.
Phone number is 888-989-9811. You can email us, rad@radradio.com. We're with Eddie from NorCal Gun Vault. Trish wrote in, say, if I come into NorCal to purchase a firearm, how long is the waiting period? Again, a lot of first-time buyers walk them through the process again.
Right, exactly. So that's the biggest question we're getting now is we're getting a lot of people calling, ask, what do I need? So it's a standard. You need a valid California ID or driver's license. If it's an old ID, meaning it's not a real ID, but it doesn't have federal limits apply, that will suffice. The real ID is good. If it says federal limits apply in the upper right corner, you will need a passport. You will need a birth certificate with you. What I recommend is taking a picture of it at home, just keeping it on your phone. When you get there, you can email it to us. We print it out, and that's good as a legal document.
And they do have to get their HSC if they don't have one.
Right, and we are processing a lot of firearm safety certificates right now. I mean, we've run out of tests at a couple points where we've had so many out. We've had people wait now, and we can only do the registration so fast, and so we've had up to an hour and a half wait from the time you said, okay, I want to buy this until you've been able to get out the door. But just be patient. It's a process where, we have to be very diligent in how we do that paperwork and in the information that we have and how we put it on there, because we don't want something to be wrong and then now you got to come back and redo your registration. So just be patient with us. We're working it as fast as we can.
And once they get through all that, to her initial question, when they walk out of the store, can you tell them how long it will be before they can get their gun in their hand?
Again, 10 to 30 days. I talked to our DOJ representative.
Minimum yesterday. 10, though. They're going to have to wait 10 days.
Minimum 10 days. They are staffing up to process the large amount of registrations they're getting now. So the Department of Justice is taking measures to make sure that they don't get behind on the registration checks and everything. So measures are being taken by the state to process this. They're not lagging behind.
Hello, Glenn. Good morning.
Hi. I hope this is appropriate, but for people that just got a revolver and they need to go out and practice, wondering if this gentleman has what they call cupcake loads for a Ruger 480, because they're really expensive to shoot the real thing.
Yeah, no, I don't know. A lot of the more obscure ammo we just special order for folks when it's available. And you got to figure right now, I mean, there's a lot of ammo that's been depleted throughout the nation, but some of those really odd rounds, they'd probably be able to be special order. I mean, you just have to come into the store and let us take a look. Or you can look on our website at norcalgunvault.com and see if you can see them on there. If it says in stock on the website, then go ahead and place the order and place it quickly, because it could say in stock right now and 5 minutes later somebody orders the last one somewhere else. So just be aware of that.
We got this email from Amber.
Hi, Amber.
And you do occasional things at your stores on Saturdays and things like that. She says, will NorCal Gun Vault offer any courses or online courses, concealed carry, otherwise? Is there any options for anything like that coming up?
Right. So we have the 2 concealed carry courses for March are already full. We have one coming up at the store in May. You can sign up now for CCW through NorCal Gun Vault, whether in the store or on the website now. You don't have to go to an off-site. We're going to try and get more care and feeding your firearm classes going, so that a lot of these new buyers come in, they can get more familiar with it, even if it's just a hands-on cleaning. We want that comfort level. We want them to be confident with their firearm.
Hello, John. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. Good morning.
Hey.
I was just curious. About 12, 13 years ago, I did plead guilty to an assault charge, and so my gun rights were taken away. How long is the stipulation on getting them back? I mean, do I have to? Is that forever, or how does that work?
My understanding is if it's it's considered a violent crime, that kind of sticks with you for a while. I don't have any idea of the statute on that, limitations, but I don't believe that it does go away, but that's not based on knowledge of law. That's just based upon my experience with it so far.
By the way, you mentioned earlier that from the time they start in your store at NorCal Gun Vault to the time they're getting out, if they buy a gun, it's about an hour and a half process. What is it usually on back in normal business days for you?
20 minutes.
Emails rad@radradio.com. Here's a couple questions. This one's from Scott.
Hi, Scott.
Says, as an avid firearms enthusiast, I find recent stories of historically anti-Second Amendment people who are now succumbing to the need or desire for protection incredibly amusing. These stories involve these same people discovering that it's not as easy to get a gun as they thought. No, you can't just order a gun online and have it shipped to your house. Yes, you must have a background check. Wondering if Eddie has any experience with this type of person coming into his store recently.
There's a lot of people. I think this is an eye-opener for a lot of people as to how important your Second Amendment rights are, because right now they really want this, and this provides that peace of mind for them that they're going to be protected. And if these rights get taken away, and it doesn't matter what gun it is, you give the government an inch, she'll take a mile. Just remember, I mean, we need to protect these as solidly as we can, and you do that through voting.
I don't watch The Walking Dead, but shows like that, and then I watch Handmaid's Tale, I love in the sense of where people want guns. Right. Like, they need the guns to protect themselves during those times, you know? And I'm even like, it makes me smile that Hollywood just see, we in times like this, you need a gun.
Interestingly, Eddie, we mentioned at the start of this, we originally wanted to have you on today because there was, we knew many weeks ago, the possibility of a major court decision coming down tomorrow.
Sure.
First of all, do you know if that's still happening?
I don't know. I haven't been able to see. I know that some of the state courts have been curtailing. I'm assuming the federal courts may do the same thing. So tomorrow there was supposed to be a hearing, I believe at the federal level, and it may be at the Ninth Circuit, on the California assault weapons law and whether or not it's constitutional or not. And if it gets struck down, then basically if he strikes it down as unconstitutional, it'll be like Freedom Week, but you'll have the choice of modern sporting rifles will infinitely be available.
Does this, if, we got to use a lot of qualifiers here so people don't misunderstand what I'm saying. If it is deemed to be unconstitutional, would that then open the door for, say, 9mm guns with larger magazines?
No, that's the high capacity. That is the high capacity law that California. That's a separate incident. Okay. So is the California roster of handguns. But all three are in the courts now, being looked at with different eyes to see whether or not they are infringing on Second Amendment rights.
And when you and I talked about this initially, you felt like the judge who was mainly looking at this is pro Second Amendment in some of his rulings.
He's very common sense in his rulings. I mean, I read the ruling on the high capacity ammo law when we had Freedom Week last year, and I mean he had just a brilliant write-up on that. And so it's a very common sense approach. It's a very constitutional approach and Second Amendment approach. I mean, is the guy a gun guy? I'm not sure, but he's definitely a constitutionalist.
So what would become available at whatever point if he ruled the way that you're suggesting? What would become available to Californians?
You would no longer have the limitations of featureless or fixed magazine. You could put them back to their original state. It would also, because right now as we cannot take in dangerous weapons, which is anything that's an assault weapon according to California law. At that point, that goes away, and so many manufacturers don't manufacture to that now. I mean, Sig Sauer, we're a Sig Sauer elite dealer, and we would have access to their line of ARs, their treads, their MCXs, things like that are very popular. Yet we can't get them in the state because they're not made Cal compliant. So there's a lot of manufacturers out there we'll be able to have access to and get these in.
If that decision were to come down the way that we're talking about, and if it were to come down soon, can you get that inventory with what's going on in the country?
Well, and again, it's all going to depend upon availability with what's going on. Prior to the COVID-19 crisis, it was pretty wide open. I mean, there were some manufacturers that had geared up some of their production to make sure they could handle maybe an increased demand, because of California. If they do, the California market's going to explode for that.
Hello, Alex. Good morning.
Oh my gosh.
Good morning, everyone.
Hey.
Hi.
I've never owned a gun, never registered for one, never felt the need for one until recently. If I went into your store today and got everything started, can I get one, or am I too late?
Well, no. Right now, I mean, depends upon what you want to get. I mean, your choices have become somewhat limited just because of our inventory levels. But this is nationwide. This isn't just us. It's nationwide.
It's on your side.
But no, you could come in. You could do the process. Again, valid driver's license. You need a second proof of residence. You need a firearm safety card. And come in and choose one, and then you'll wait your 10 to 30 days.
You open at 10 a.m. Are people waiting at 10 a.m.?
Yeah, we have people outside the door.
Now, you mentioned you have deliveries coming. You probably don't want to tell us, but when do those deliveries arrive-ish? Because there's kind of this trick to, I want to be there to see what guns you got.
Right. They come throughout the day. It's not like a restocking overnight. They'll come throughout the day. And then once we get them, we have to process them into our system, which takes time.
They can't just go to the truck and grab it.
Right, exactly. You have to start throwing them
out of the back of the truck.
Like concert T-shirts, But no, we have to process them in. So there is a process to do that.
Oh my gosh.
And then once we have them in the system, then we can sell them. We've been so inundated with customers and that customer demand that we haven't had time over the last couple of days to even check in things that we've gotten over the couple of days that we've been crazy. I mean, from Friday till now, it has been the walk-in count's been huge.
It'll be like Christmas when you open the stuff up.
We beat Black Friday quite a few days in a row.
Few last questions here. First one's from Adam.
Hi, Adam.
Says, my wife and I haven't had to buy ammo for one of our guns in years, but we want to stock up. The gun we want to purchase ammo for is registered to my wife's parents' address. but her ID is our home address. Can we still purchase the ammo for that firearm?
You can. You just have, but it is a 3 to 10 day wait for the approval on that. So you would come in, you would do the basic check, and then once you receive that letter of approval, that's my understanding of how you get it. You get a letter in the mail. It'll give you an approval. Then you can buy as much as you want within 30 days of that purchase, but only one purchase.
And first of all, you have to have the ammo in stock.
Yes.
And second of all, for people who don't have that licensing issue, can they just walk in and get ammo from you?
No, again, you still have to do the check. But if you purchase a firearm in the last 5 years, you're in the automated system, and those checks are instantaneous. Now, as soon as I hit submit, I go to the check page, and it's either approval or deny.
Wait, they're making sure you're buying ammo for guns that you have?
No, there's
okay.
no caliber restriction or anything.
Okay.
It's just, are you prohibited or are you not prohibited
Gotcha.
is all they're looking for.
This is from Jackie. Says, is there an alternative Eddie or Rob can recommend for self-defense for someone who is not able to or not comfortable with purchasing a gun?
Yeah, again, we got non-lethal. You've got chemical sprays. You've got tasers. Tasers are very effective, but they're kind of one shot, so you're going to have a limit to how many cartridges you have. But for the most part, when they incapacitate somebody, it gives you what they buy you is time. They're not going to, hopefully somebody will run away at that point with a deterrent, but they're going to buy you time.
And there is all sorts of other stuff. You talk about buying time. That you have various, I don't know what you have to stop. Alarm whistles. There's a lot of stuff for some. If she walked into your store and said, I'm not buying a gun for whatever reason, show me everything else you got. You've got a lot of things that you can show her. This one is from Ricardo.
Hey, Ricardo.
Hola.
Brandon's part Mexican.
Says, Eddie is right. My wife last night gave me the green light to go ahead and buy a gun. I'm a contractor for the big box hardware store, and people have been breaking open the toilet paper dispensaries and taking the toilet paper.
Oh, Jesus
Just
God.
this morning in the store parking lot, a car was broken into and had their water cases stolen.
Oh, my God.
This is getting scary. P.S. What would be a good beginner gun? What's in stock?
Right. But it's a beginner gun or an advanced gun. It's all going to be what you can put in your hand and what you can safely and comfortably use. And again, we advocate the responsible gun ownership. Making sure that you have adequate lock to keep it locked. And that you take the time once you get it to train on it. That's very, very important. So
that's what I liked about when we first had you on and stuff, like you saying what are you comfortable holding? Because if you're not comfortable holding it, then you're not going to be comfortable shooting it, and be even more scared if something does happen.
Are you talking about guns?
Right? Eddie, thank you so much for being here. NorCal Gun Vault, they're open today. You open at 10. We will have you back either as this chaos continues or when we get a decision, or when we know we're getting a decision. Now, is it, lastly on that court decision, if everything's moving forward, is it possible that we would get the decision tomorrow, or that's just the hearing, or could it be delayed under normal circumstances?
It depends if he rules from the bench or if he decides to look into it, to build his, defense of his decision. So it could be instantaneous. It could be a week. We don't know.
All right, we'll keep an eye on that. I know you got a lot of work to do. Get over to the NorCal Gun Vault. Thanks for being here. We're back after this.